The new SIM card slid into Olivia Greene's phone with a soft click, and she stared at the unfamiliar number on the screen with a mixture of relief and exhaustion. 3 months, 3 phone numbers, 3 desperate attempts to disappear from Marcus's relentless calls and messages. Her hands trembled slightly as she powered the device back on, watching the screen illuminate her small studio apartment in the fading evening light. She had moved to this building 6 weeks ago, another layer of protection between her past and the future she was trying to build, but the fear still lived under her skin like a constant hum. Olivia set the phone down on her kitchen counter and moved to the window, pulling the curtain back just enough to see the street below. Nothing unusual. No car idling at the curb, no figure lingering in the shadows. She had become an expert at checking, at constantly looking over her shoulder, at planning escape routes from every room she entered. It was exhausting being this vigilant, but Marcus had taught her that letting her guard down meant inviting chaos back into her life. Their relationship had ended 8 months ago, but Marcus refused to accept it. The breakup had been necessary after 2 years of his increasingly controlling behavior, his jealousy that turned violent, his insistence on knowing where she was every moment of every day. The final straw had come when he grabbed her wrist so hard it left bruises that lasted 2 weeks, all because she had gone to lunch with a female coworker without telling him first. She had packed a bag that night while he was at work, left the key on the table, and moved in with her sister across town. But Marcus was nothing if not persistent. He found her at her sister's place within a week. He found her at her new job at the marketing firm downtown. He found her at the gym, at the grocery store, at the coffee shop where she tried to work on weekends. So she changed her number. Then he somehow got the new one, probably from her cousin who still thought Marcus was charming and misunderstood. So she changed it again. And now, for the 3rd time, she had erased herself from the digital world he could access. The apartment building she now called home was older but well-maintained, with thick walls and a secure entrance that required a key fob. She had chosen the 3rd floor specifically because it was high enough to require effort to reach but low enough to escape from if necessary. Her studio was small, barely 400 square feet, but it felt safe. The landlord had been understanding when she explained she needed to break her previous lease, and he had not asked too many questions when she paid 6 months upfront in cash, money she had been secretly saving for 2 years, in an account Marcus never knew existed. A knock on her door made her jump, her heart immediately racing. She stood frozen, barely breathing, staring at the wooden door as if she could see through it. "Pizza delivery," a bored teenage voice called from the other side. Olivia released a breath. She had not ordered pizza. "Wrong apartment," she called back, her voice steadier than she felt. "Oh, sorry, must be 3C. Footsteps retreated down the hallway, and Olivia sank onto her second-hand couch, pressing her palms against her eyes. This was no way to live, jumping at every sound, afraid of her own shadow. She needed to get better, to heal, to reclaim the parts of herself that Marcus had slowly eroded over those 2 years. The confident woman who used to laugh easily and trust people had been replaced by this nervous creature who changed phone numbers and slept with pepper spray under her pillow. Her new job at a boutique public relations firm was going well, at least. She had started 3 weeks ago, and her boss Deanne seemed impressed with her work on their latest client campaign for a sustainable fashion brand. Olivia had always been good with words, good at understanding what people wanted to hear and how to craft messages that resonated. It was ironic that she had spent 2 years unable to make Marcus hear the word no, but she could convince strangers to buy products they did not need. The evening settled into night, and Olivia made herself a simple dinner of pasta and vegetables, eating while standing at her kitchen counter and scrolling through her email on her laptop. Nothing suspicious, nothing that indicated Marcus had found her again. She allowed herself to hope that maybe this time, the number change would stick. Maybe this time, he would finally give up and move on. She was washing her single plate when she heard voices in the hallway. The walls were thick, but the hallway sounds carried sometimes when people left their doors open or spoke loudly. "I appreciate you bringing these up, Mrs. Chen. I could have managed, but thank you." The voice was deep, warm, with an easy confidence that suggested someone used to being in control without needing to demand it. "Oh, Mr. Dalton, it is no trouble. You are always so kind to help me with my groceries. This is the least I can do, Mrs. Chen lived in 3B, right next to Olivia, a sweet elderly woman who had welcomed her with homemade dumplings on her first day. "Still, I appreciate it. Have a good evening." "You too, dear. Do not work too late tonight. You young people always working." Olivia heard a door close, presumably 3C, the apartment on her other side. She had glimpsed her neighbor a few times in passing, always just a quick impression of someone tall and well-dressed, usually on a phone call or carrying a laptop bag. They had never spoken beyond a polite nod in the hallway. In her current state of mind, Olivia preferred it that way. The fewer people who knew her, the better. She finished cleaning her dishes and settled onto her couch with a book, though her mind struggled to focus on the words. The trauma of the past months had stolen her ability to lose herself in stories, something she had always loved. Now, every romantic gesture in fiction felt like a red flag, every passionate declaration a warning sign. Marcus had been passionate too at first. He had declared his love within 3 weeks of their first date, had wanted to spend every moment with her, had said she was the only person who truly understood him. She had thought it was romantic then. She knew now it was obsession. The next morning, Olivia woke early and got ready for work with her usual careful routine. She had learned to dress in layers, to wear shoes she could run in if necessary, to keep her hair pulled back so no one could grab it. The carefree version of herself, who used to wear flowing dresses and heels, felt like someone from another lifetime. She was locking her apartment door when the door to 3C opened. Her neighbor stepped out, and for the first time, Olivia got a proper look at him. He was probably in his early 30s, with dark hair that looked professionally styled but was slightly mussed, suggesting he had been running his hands through it. He wore a charcoal suit that was obviously expensive, tailored perfectly to his broad shoulders and athletic build. His face was striking, with strong features and dark eyes that looked tired despite the early hour. He glanced up and caught her looking. For a moment, their eyes met, and Olivia saw something flicker in his expression, curiosity maybe, or concern. She quickly looked away, her instinct to avoid attention kicking in. "Morning," he said, his voice the same warm baritone she had heard in the hallway the night before. "Good morning," Olivia replied quietly, already turning toward the stairs. "I am Connor, by the way, Connor Dalton. I live in 3C. She hesitated, her hand on the stairwell door. Common courtesy demanded she introduce herself, but every instinct screamed at her to remain invisible. "Olivia," she finally said, not offering her last name. 3A. "Nice to meet you, Olivia. Have a good day at work." She nodded and pushed through the door, taking the stairs quickly, her heart pounding harder than the brief interaction warranted. It had been nothing, just a polite exchange between neighbors, but it had felt like exposure. She had been seen, noticed, remembered. That was dangerous. The spring air was cool as she walked to the bus stop, and Olivia pulled her jacket tighter. She could not afford a car right now, not after the money she had spent on deposits and first month's rent and the new phone. The bus was fine. It was anonymous. It was safe. Work provided a welcome distraction. Olivia threw herself into revising the campaign pitch for their fashion client, refining the messaging and crafting social media content that highlighted the brand's commitment to ethical production. Deanne stopped by her desk around noon, looking pleased. "This is excellent work, Olivia. Really excellent. The client is going to love this approach." Deanne was in her mid-40s, with short gray hair she wore with confidence and the kind of direct communication style that Olivia appreciated. "I am thinking about putting you on the Riverside development pitch next week. It is a big one, a major real estate project downtown. Are you up for it?" "Absolutely," Olivia said, meaning it. Work was the one place she felt competent, capable, like herself. "Great. We will have the briefing on Monday." "Oh, and Olivia, whatever you are running from, I hope you know you are safe here. I have been where you are. If you need anything, let me know." Olivia's throat tightened. She had not told Deanne everything, just enough to explain why she needed to be cautious about her personal information. "Thank you. That means a lot." Deanne squeezed her shoulder and walked back to her office, leaving Olivia staring at her computer screen with unexpected tears blurring her vision. Kindness still felt foreign after so long with someone who had twisted it into manipulation. The workday passed quickly, and Olivia took a different bus route home, something she tried to vary as much as possible. It was after 7 when she finally climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor, tired but satisfied with what she had accomplished. She was halfway down the hallway when she noticed something on her doormat. A small package, wrapped in brown paper. Her entire body went cold. No one should know she lived here. No one should be leaving her anything. "Are you okay?" The voice made her spin around. Connor Dalton stood in his doorway, still wearing his suit pants but having traded the jacket and tie for a simple white t-shirt that revealed more of his athletic build. His expression was concerned. "You look like you have seen a ghost." Olivia stared at the package, then back at him. "Did you see anyone leaving this?" He stepped closer, his eyes moving to the package. "No, I have been home for about an hour. What is it?" "I do not know." "I was not expecting anything." Her voice sounded strange, tight with fear. Connor seemed to pick up on her distress. His posture shifted, becoming more alert. "Do you want me to open it? Or we could call the building manager." She appreciated that he offered options rather than just taking over. "Could you open it? I just need to know what it is." He nodded and moved past her, keeping a respectful distance as he bent to pick up the package. It was small, maybe the size of a jewelry box. He carefully unwrapped the brown paper, revealing a plain white box underneath. When he lifted the lid, Olivia saw tissue paper. Connor pushed the tissue aside, then frowned. "It is a phone charm, a little glass butterfly." He held it up, and Olivia felt her stomach drop. She had owned a phone charm exactly like that, a delicate blue glass butterfly. It had been a gift from her grandmother before she died. Marcus had broken it during one of their arguments, snapping the butterfly off its chain and throwing it across the room where it shattered against the wall. "Olivia," Connor's voice was gentle but serious. "Talk to me. What is going on?" Her legs felt unsteady. "I need to go inside." "Okay, can I come with you? I do not think you should be alone right now." She wanted to say no, wanted to maintain her walls, but the fear was overwhelming. She nodded, unlocking her door with shaking hands. Connor followed her inside, closing the door behind them and setting the package on her counter. "Someone is bothering you," he said. It was not a question. Olivia sank onto her couch, her mind racing. How had Marcus found her? She had been so careful. "My ex. I left him 8 months ago and he would not let go." I have changed my number 3 times. I moved here 6 weeks ago and I have been so careful. I do not understand how he found me." Connor listened without interrupting, his expression growing darker as she spoke. When she finished, he was quiet for a moment, clearly thinking. "Does he have access to any of your accounts? Social media, email, banking?" I closed or changed everything. I made all new accounts with new passwords. I do not use social media anymore. "Work. Does he know where you work?" "He found me at my old job. That is part of why I left. My new employer knows not to give out my information." Olivia pressed her hands to her face. "I have been so careful." "I believe you." Connor's voice was steady, grounding. "But people like your ex, they are resourceful when they are obsessed. He might have put a tracker on something you own. Your car, your bag, your laptop." "I do not have a car. I walk or take the bus everywhere." "Your laptop then, or your bag. Do you mind if I take a look?" Olivia retrieved her work bag and her personal laptop, setting them on the counter. Connor examined them both carefully, his movements methodical and practiced. After a few minutes, he paused, his fingers finding something under the lip of her laptop case. "Here," he said quietly, showing her a tiny black disc no bigger than a button. "GPS tracker. Probably has a few weeks of battery life, enough for him to follow your patterns and find out where you live." Olivia felt like she might be sick. "He has been tracking me for weeks." "He has known where I was this whole time." "Probably. But now we know and we can deal with it." Connor's calm was infectious. "First, we get rid of this, then we check everything else you own, and then we figure out next steps. Why are you helping me?" The question came out before she could stop it. "You do not even know me." Connor met her eyes and there was something fierce in his expression. "Because someone should, and because I know what it is like to feel hunted." He did not elaborate and Olivia did not push. "Also, we are neighbors. We look out for each other, right?" Over the next hour, Connor helped her methodically check every item she owned. They found another tracker sewn into the lining of her favorite purse, the one she had owned for years and had not thought to replace. Each discovery felt like a violation, Marcus's presence contaminating her life even in his physical absence. "I need to call the police," Olivia said when they had finished. "I need to report this." "Have you reported him before?" "Yes, twice." "They said unless he physically threatens me or violates a restraining order, there is not much they can do." Connor's jaw tightened. "Do you have a restraining order?" "I tried. The judge said I did not have enough evidence of imminent danger." "Marcus is very good at playing the victim, at making it seem like I am the one overreacting." "Okay." Connor pulled out his phone. "I know people. Let me make some calls. In the meantime, you should not stay here tonight. He knows where you live, and even though we found the trackers, we cannot be sure there are not other ways he is monitoring you. I cannot afford a hotel, and I will not put my sister in danger again. He found me there before. You will stay with me." Connor said it like it was the most obvious solution in the world. "I have a 2-bedroom and you will be safe there. I have security." "I cannot ask you to do that." "You are not asking, I am offering." He looked at her seriously. "Olivia, I know we just met, but you need help. Let me help." "Please." There was something in his eyes, a sincerity that cut through her usual defenses. She was so tired of being afraid, of being alone with her fear. "Okay," she whispered. "Thank you." They packed a bag with her essentials, and Connor insisted on checking the hallway before they left her apartment. His apartment was a mirror image of hers in layout, but completely different in furnishing. Where hers was sparse and temporary, his was elegant and lived in, with comfortable furniture, actual artwork on the walls, and floor-to-ceiling bookshelves filled with hardcovers. A laptop sat open on a large desk by the window, multiple monitors surrounding it. "The guest room is through here," Connor said, leading her down a short hallway. Bathroom is across the hall. Make yourself at home. Are you hungry? I was about to make dinner. Olivia realized she had not eaten since lunch. I do not want to impose more than I already am. You are not imposing. I am making pasta primavera. I always make too much. You would be doing me a favor. They cooked together, Connor taking the lead but including her in the process in a way that felt natural rather than forced. He moved around the kitchen with practiced ease, chopping vegetables and timing everything perfectly. They talked about inconsequential things, safe topics like favorite books and terrible movies they secretly loved. Olivia found herself relaxing incrementally, Connor's steady presence easing the panic that had gripped her earlier. Over dinner, Connor asked, "What do you do for work, Olivia?" "I work in PR. I just started at a boutique firm a few weeks ago. What about you?" "I own a property development company. We focus on sustainable residential and commercial buildings." He said it casually, but Olivia recognized the implication. Property development, especially with multiple projects, meant serious money. "Is that why you have all the monitors, working from home?" "Sometimes. I prefer being on site when we have active projects, but I do a lot of the planning and design work here. I like the quiet." They cleaned up together after dinner, and Connor showed her how to work his entertainment system so she could watch something if she wanted. "I need to make those calls," he said. "I will be in my office, but if you need anything, just knock. And Olivia, you are safe here, I promise." She believed him, which was remarkable given how little she trusted anyone these days. "Thank you, Connor, really. I do not know how to repay you." "You do not need to repay kindness. That is not how it works." He smiled, a genuine warm expression that transformed his serious face, then disappeared into his office. Olivia tried to watch television, but her mind kept drifting. She thought about Marcus, about how he had managed to track her even when she had been so careful. She thought about the butterfly charm, the deliberate cruelty of replacing something he had destroyed as a message that he was still there, still watching. And she thought about Connor, this stranger who had stepped in without hesitation to help her. Around 10, Connor emerged from his office, looking tired but satisfied. "I talked to a friend who is a lawyer specializing in stalking and harassment cases. She is willing to take your case pro bono. I also talked to a detective I know. He cannot do anything officially yet, but he gave me some advice on documentation and evidence gathering." Olivia felt tears prick her eyes again. "You did that for me, of course." "We have an appointment with the lawyer tomorrow at 10 if that works with your schedule." "I will call my boss in the morning. She will understand." "Good." Connor sat down in the armchair across from her. "I want to be clear about something. This is not your fault. None of this is your fault. You did everything right, and he is the one violating your boundaries and your safety. You understand that, right?" Olivia nodded, though part of her still struggled to believe it. Marcus had been very good at making her feel responsible for his actions, convincing her that if she had just been better, more understanding, less independent, he would not have to monitor her so closely. "I mean it, Olivia. You deserve to feel safe. You deserve to live your life without fear." "I am working on believing that," she said honestly. "That is all anyone can ask." He stood, stretching. "I am going to get some sleep. Tomorrow is going to be a long day. Good night, Olivia." "Good night, Connor, and thank you for everything." The guest room was comfortable, with a real mattress and quality linens that smelled faintly of cedar. Olivia lay in the darkness, listening to the unfamiliar sounds of Connor's apartment, the hum of the refrigerator, the distant sound of traffic, footsteps above them from the 4th floor. She felt safer than she had in months, which was strange considering she was sleeping in a virtual stranger's home. But Connor had proven himself trustworthy in ways that mattered, respecting her boundaries while offering genuine help. The next morning, Olivia woke to the smell of coffee. She found Connor in the kitchen, already dressed in another immaculate suit, pouring 2 cups. "Morning, how did you sleep?" "Better than I expected," Olivia admitted. "What time is it?" 7:30. "I figured we could have breakfast before the appointment. I made too many eggs." He gestured to a pan on the stove filled with scrambled eggs, vegetables, and cheese. They ate together, and Olivia called Diane to explain she needed the morning for a personal emergency. As predicted, Diane was understanding and told her to take whatever time she needed. The lawyer's office was in a modern building downtown. Catherine Wright was in her 50s, with sharp eyes and an air of competence that immediately put Olivia at ease. Connor stayed for the initial consultation, his presence supportive but not overbearing. Catherine listened to Olivia's story, taking notes and asking pointed questions. "You have a solid case for a restraining order," she said when Olivia finished. "The GPS trackers are particularly damning. That is clear evidence of stalking. I will file the paperwork this afternoon, and we should have a hearing within 2 weeks." "What do I do until then?" Olivia asked. "Document everything. Every call, every message, every time you see him or find evidence he has been tracking you. Vary your routines as much as possible. Stay with friends or family if you can, and consider the trackers a gift in a strange way. They give us concrete evidence of his behavior." Connor spoke up. "What about criminal charges?" "That is trickier but possible. The trackers constitute stalking in this state, which is a misdemeanor on first offense, but can be elevated to a felony with aggravating factors. His history of harassment would support that. I will reach out to the prosecutor's office." They left the appointment with a plan and a timeline. Connor had taken the morning off to accompany her, which Olivia appreciated more than she could express. "You need to get to work?" she asked as they stood on the sidewalk outside the building. "Eventually, but I have time. Want to grab coffee? There is a good place around the corner." The coffee shop was busy with the late morning rush, but they found a table by the window. Connor ordered them both lattes and a selection of pastries, insisting Olivia needed to eat more than just eggs. "Can I ask you something personal?" Olivia said, stirring sugar into her coffee. "Sure." "Last night you said you know what it is like to feel hunted. What did you mean?" Connor was quiet for a moment, his fingers tracing the rim of his cup. "My company, it is worth a lot of money. I built it from nothing over the past 8 years, and it has been successful beyond my initial projections. That success has made me a target for people who want something from me. I have had employees sue me for fabricated claims hoping for a settlement. I have had competitors try to sabotage projects. I have had women date me specifically because they wanted access to my money or connections. You learn to be careful. You learn to look for the angles." "That sounds lonely," Olivia said softly. "It can be. But it also teaches you to value the people who show up without wanting something. Like Mrs. Chen, who brings me dumplings and does not care how much money I make. Or neighbors who are just trying to live their lives without drama." He met her eyes. "I am not comparing my situation to yours. What you are dealing with is different and more dangerous. I just meant that I understand what it is like to feel like you cannot trust anyone." "I trust you," Olivia said, surprising herself with the admission. "I do not know why, given that we met yesterday, but I do. I trust you too." Connor's smile was warm. "Maybe we both need that right now." They talked for another hour, the conversation flowing easily between serious topics and lighter ones. Connor told her about his latest project, a mixed-use development on the riverside that would include affordable housing units alongside market-rate apartments. Olivia told him about her PR campaign for the sustainable fashion brand, and Connor was genuinely interested, asking smart questions about messaging strategy. When they finally left the coffee shop, Connor walked her to the bus stop. "You are still staying with me tonight, right? At least until we know more about Marcus's movements. If you are sure you do not mind, I am sure. I will make dinner again. Any requests, surprise me." That evening, Connor made Thai curry from scratch, impressive Olivia with his cooking skills. They ate on his couch, watching a cooking competition show and arguing good-naturedly about which contestant deserved to win. It felt remarkably normal, like they were friends who had known each other for years rather than 2 days. The pattern continued for the next week. Olivia stayed in Connor's guest room and they fell into a comfortable routine. He made breakfast while she got ready for work, and they had dinner together every evening, cooking collaboratively and talking about their days. Connor was easy to be around, his presence calming and steady. He made her laugh with dry observations about his business partners and terrible contractor stories. He listened when she needed to vent about work stress or her lingering fear about Marcus. The restraining order hearing was scheduled for the following Tuesday. Catherine was confident they had a strong case, especially with the GPS trackers as evidence. Marcus had been served with the temporary order, and according to Catherine's sources, he had hired an expensive lawyer to fight it. "He is going to claim it is a misunderstanding," Catherine warned during a prep meeting. "He's going to say you are overreacting, that he just wanted to talk to you, that the trackers were from before you broke up. We need to be ready for that narrative." Olivia had kept all of Marcus's messages and emails from the past 8 months, hundreds of them ranging from apologetic to angry to threatening. Catherine assured her they painted a clear picture of escalating harassment. The night before the hearing, Olivia was too anxious to eat much dinner. Connor noticed as he seemed to notice everything about her lately. "Talk to me," he said, setting down his fork. "What are you feeling? Scared? What if the judge does not believe me? What if Marcus convinces them I am making this up? Then we appeal, and we keep fighting." "But Olivia, you have evidence. You have documentation. You have a lawyer who knows what she is doing, and you have me, for whatever that is worth." "It is worth a lot." She reached across the table and squeezed his hand, a gesture that had become natural between them over the past week. "I do not know what I would have done without you, Connor. You saved me." "You saved yourself," he corrected gently. "You left him. You built a new life. You took precautions and protected yourself as much as you could. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time to help a little." "It was more than a little." She did not let go of his hand. "You gave me a safe place when I needed it most. You believed me without question. You used your resources and connections to help me. That is everything, Connor." His thumb brushed across her knuckles, a touch so light she might have imagined it. "You are easy to believe in, Olivia Greene." The moment stretched between them, charged with something neither of them had acknowledged yet. Then Connor cleared his throat and stood, breaking the connection. "We should get you to bed early. Big day tomorrow." The hearing was at 10 in the morning at the downtown courthouse. Connor had insisted on coming, taking another morning off work. Olivia wore a simple navy dress and minimal makeup, trying to look professional and credible. Catherine met them outside the courtroom, looking fierce in a black suit. "Remember, answer the questions directly and honestly. Do not let his lawyer rattle you. I will object if they cross any lines." Catherine squeezed her arm. "You have got this." Marcus was already inside with his lawyer, a slick-looking man in an expensive suit. Olivia's ex looked the same as she remembered, handsome in a conventional way, with carefully styled blonde hair and clothes that were just slightly too trendy. He looked up when she entered, and something flickered across his face, possessiveness maybe, or anger that she had dared to take this step. Connor stayed in the gallery, and Olivia drew strength from knowing he was there. The hearing proceeded methodically. Catherine presenting the evidence of Marcus's harassment, the messages, the GPS trackers, witness statements from Olivia's sister and co-workers about his behavior. Marcus's lawyer tried to paint it as a misunderstanding between exes, claiming Marcus was just concerned about Olivia's well-being and had no intention of causing fear. Then, Olivia was called to testify. She walked through the history of their relationship, the escalating control, the violence, the stalking after she left. Marcus's lawyer tried to shake her testimony, suggesting she was exaggerating, that she had voluntarily maintained contact with Marcus, that the GPS trackers could have been placed by anyone. "Why would anyone else place trackers on my belongings?" Olivia asked, her voice stronger than she felt. "Who else would benefit from knowing my location? You tell me, Miss Greene. Do you have any other ex-boyfriends? Any other relationships that ended badly?" "Objection, relevance," Catherine said sharply. "Sustained," the judge said. "Counsel, stick to the facts of this case." The hearing lasted 2 hours. Finally, the judge called for a brief recess to review the evidence. Olivia sat with Catherine in the hallway, her hands shaking. "You did great," Catherine assured her. "Really great." The judge seemed to be taking this seriously. Connor appeared with bottles of water for both of them. "How are you holding up? Ask me when this is over." They were called back 30 minutes later. The judge, a woman in her 60s with steel gray hair and a no-nonsense demeanor, looked at both parties seriously. "Having reviewed the evidence and testimony, I am granting the restraining order for a period of 3 years. Mr. Travers, you are to have no contact with Miss Greene, directly or indirectly. You are to stay at least 500 feet away from her residence, her workplace, and any location she regularly frequents. You are to remove any tracking software or devices from her belongings immediately. Violation of this order will result in immediate arrest and criminal charges." "Do you understand?" Marcus's face had gone red, but he nodded stiffly. "Yes, Your Honor. Miss Greene, if he violates this order in any way, you are to call the police immediately. I am also recommending that the prosecutor's office review this case for potential criminal stalking charges." That is all. Relief flooded through Olivia so intensely she felt dizzy. Catherine was smiling, packing up her briefcase efficiently. That went as well as we could have hoped. The judge clearly saw through his lawyer's arguments. Outside the courthouse, Olivia finally let herself breathe. Connor was there immediately, his hand on her back steadying her. "You did it. You are safe now. For 3 years at least." She looked up at him, and without thinking about it, she hugged him. Connor stiffened for just a moment before his arms came around her, holding her securely. 3 years is a long time, he said quietly. A lot can change in 3 years. They celebrated that night with takeout from Olivia's favorite Italian restaurant and a bottle of wine. Connor insisted they watch her favorite movie, a romantic comedy from the 90s that he pretended to hate, but she caught him smiling at more than once. "I should probably go back to my apartment," Olivia said later, curled up on his couch with her second glass of wine warming her from the inside. "I have imposed on you for too long." "You have not imposed. I like having you here." Connor said it simply, but there was weight behind the words. "But if you want to go back to your place, I understand. Just know my door is always open." What if I did not want to go back? The wine had made her brave, or maybe it was just that she was tired of pretending she did not feel the connection growing between them. "What if I wanted to stay?" Connor set down his glass, his dark eyes serious. "Olivia, you have been through something traumatic. I do not want you to make decisions based on gratitude or fear or anything other than what you actually want." "I know what I want." She met his gaze steadily. "I want to be here, with you. Not because I am afraid or because I owe you something, but because I feel safe with you in a way I have not felt in years. Because you make me laugh. Because you see me as a person, not as something to possess or control. Because when I am with you, I remember who I used to be before Marcus." Connor reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, his touch gentle. "I need you to be sure, because if we do this, if we move forward with whatever this is becoming, I am all in. I do not do halfway, and I do not want to take advantage of your situation. You are not taking advantage. I am choosing this. I am choosing you." She leaned into his touch. "If you want me to." "Want you?" Connor laughed, a surprised sound. "Olivia, I have wanted you since that first morning when you looked at me like you were ready to run. I wanted to know why you had that fear in your eyes. I wanted to make it go away. Every day this week, coming home to you has been the best part of my day. Cooking with you, talking with you, just existing in the same space as you. So yes, I want you. I just needed to make sure you were ready." She kissed him then, leaning forward to close the distance between them. Connor responded immediately, his hand sliding into her hair, his other arm wrapping around her waist. The kiss was soft at first, tentative, both of them testing this new territory. Then it deepened, weeks of growing attraction and connection crystallizing into something undeniable. When they finally pulled apart, both slightly breathless, Connor rested his forehead against hers. "Stay, not in the guest room, stay with me." "Okay," Olivia whispered. "Yes." They moved slowly, both aware that this was important, that it meant something. Connor was patient and attentive, checking in with her, making sure she was comfortable. After so long with someone who had taken without asking, his consideration felt revolutionary. They made love in his bed, the city lights casting shadows across the walls, and Olivia felt something inside her start to heal. Afterward, wrapped in Connor's arms, she felt tears slip down her cheeks. He noticed immediately, pulling back to look at her with concern. "Did I hurt you? Are you okay?" "I am fine. Better than fine. I am just happy. I forgot what that felt like." Connor kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. "Get used to it. I plan on making you happy for a very long time." The next few months unfolded like a dream. Olivia officially moved in with Connor, her few belongings easily absorbed into his larger apartment. They fell into a partnership that felt natural and right, supporting each other through work stress and challenges. Olivia's career was taking off, her campaigns for the PR firm winning awards and new clients. Connor's Riverside development project broke ground, and he took her to the site regularly, walking her through his vision for the space. Marcus violated the restraining order once, showing up at Olivia's office building. Security called the police, and he was arrested. Catherine pushed for the maximum penalty, and Marcus ended up with 30 days in jail plus an extension of the restraining order to 5 years. After that, he seemed to finally understand that Olivia was beyond his reach. She heard through mutual acquaintances that he had moved to another state, starting over somewhere new. She hoped he would get help, but mostly she just felt relief that he was gone. Connor introduced her to his world gradually, taking her to business dinners and charity events. Olivia realized quickly that he was not just successful but seriously wealthy. His company had several major developments across the city, and his net worth was probably in the tens of millions. But he wore it lightly, never flaunting his money, always generous but never showy. He donated to causes he believed in, mentored young entrepreneurs, and treated everyone from CEOs to janitors with the same respect. "Why did not you tell me how rich you were?" Olivia asked one night, lying in bed after attending a gala where Connor had casually bid $50,000 on a charity auction item. Would it have mattered? No, but I felt a little underdressed. Connor laughed, pulling her closer. You were the most beautiful woman there. And to answer your question, I do not lead with money because I want people to like me for me, not for what I can give them. You saw me as just Connor, your neighbor who could cook a decent meal. That was valuable. You are so much more than decent, Olivia teased, kissing his jaw. You are at least good, maybe even great. Is that right? His hands started wandering, and the conversation dissolved into something much more physical. A year after they met, Connor took Olivia back to the Riverside development. The first buildings were nearly complete, a mix of modern apartments with green roofs and solar panels, plus ground-floor retail spaces designed to serve the community. I want to show you something, he said, leading her to one of the completed units on the top floor. The apartment was spacious and beautiful, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the river. What do you think? It is stunning. Your buyers are going to love these. Actually, I was thinking maybe we could love this one. Connor pulled her to face him, his expression nervous in a way she rarely saw. Move in here with me. We will have more space, better views, and it is closer to both our offices. We can make it ours, design it exactly how we want. Olivia looked around the empty space, imagining their furniture, their life, their future. Are you sure? This is a big step. I am sure about you. I have been sure about you since the moment you let me into your apartment despite being terrified. You trusted me when you had no reason to, and I've tried every day since then to be worthy of that trust. He took her hands. I love you, Olivia. I want to build a life with you, and I would love to do it in a space we create together. I love you too, she said, the words easy and true. Yes. Let's make this home. They moved in 6 months later, after spending weeks picking out furniture and paint colors and arguing cheerfully about whether they needed a second television. Olivia insisted on paying for some of the furnishings, unwilling to let Connor cover everything despite his protests. They compromised, splitting costs in a way that felt fair to both of them. Work continued to go well for both of them. Olivia was promoted to senior account manager, leading bigger campaigns for more prestigious clients. Connor's company won a major contract to develop a sustainable office complex downtown, a project that would take 3 years, but cement his reputation as a leader in green building. They hosted their first dinner party in the new apartment, inviting Diane, Catherine, Mrs. Chen from their old building, and a few of Connor's business partners. It was loud and warm and felt like the kind of evening that built memories. Watching Connor laugh with their guests, his hand finding hers across the table, Olivia felt a contentment she had never known possible. 2 years after they met, Connor planned a weekend trip to a cabin in the mountains. It was autumn, and the leaves were turning brilliant colors. They spent the days hiking and the evenings by the fireplace, disconnected from work and the city and everything but each other. On their last evening, Connor built a fire and poured them wine. I have been thinking about something, he said, pulling Olivia onto his lap. About us and our future. What about it? I want everything with you. I want marriage and kids and growing old together. I want to build things together, not just buildings but a life, a family, a legacy. And I know we have talked about this in abstract terms, but I want to make it real. He shifted her off his lap and dropped to one knee, pulling a small box from his pocket. Olivia Greene, you walked into my life when I did not know I was looking for anyone. You were brave and strong and beautiful, and every day with you has been a gift. Will you marry me? The ring was perfect, a simple diamond on a platinum band, elegant and classic. Olivia looked at Connor, this man who had proven himself worthy of her trust over and over, who had helped her heal and grow and remember how to hope. Yes, she said, laughing and crying at the same time. Yes, absolutely yes. The wedding was small and intimate, held at a botanical garden in the spring. Olivia wore a simple cream dress, and Connor wore a charcoal suit that matched his eyes. Their closest friends and family attended, including Olivia's sister, who cried through the entire ceremony. Mrs. Chen made dumplings for the reception, insisting they were good luck. They honeymooned in Italy, spending 2 weeks eating amazing food, exploring ancient cities, and making love in beautiful hotels. It was perfect, exactly what both of them needed after the intensity of the past few years. Life settled into a beautiful rhythm. Connor's company continued to grow, and he started a foundation focused on providing affordable housing for low-income families. Olivia became a partner at her firm, her expertise in crisis management and authentic messaging making her invaluable. They talked about starting a family, but decided to wait another year, enjoying being newlyweds. Marcus became a distant memory, someone who had hurt her but no longer had power over her life. Olivia had done the work to heal, attending therapy and learning to trust again. The fear that had lived under her skin for so long faded, replaced by confidence and joy. 3 years after they met, Olivia discovered she was pregnant. They had been trying for 6 months, so it was not a complete surprise, but the reality of it hit her all at once when she saw the positive test. Connor was at a construction site, but she called him immediately. "Are you sure?" His voice was breathless with excitement. "3 tests, all positive. We are having a baby, Connor. I am coming home right now. Stay there, do not move." He arrived 20 minutes later, sweeping her into his arms and spinning her around. "We are having a baby. We are going to be parents." "We are," Olivia agreed, laughing at his enthusiasm. "Are you ready for this?" "I have never been more ready for anything." He placed his hand on her still flat stomach. "Except maybe that first morning when I decided to knock on your door and ask if you needed help. I was ready for you then, even though I did not know it yet." The pregnancy was smooth. Olivia worked up until her 8th month, then took leave to prepare for the baby. They converted one of the spare bedrooms into a nursery, painting it a soft yellow and filling it with books and toys. Connor read parenting books obsessively, wanting to be as prepared as possible. Their daughter arrived on a sunny morning in October, healthy and loud and perfect. They named her Grace, for the grace that had brought them together and carried them through. Holding her for the first time, Olivia marveled at how much her life had changed. 4 years ago, she had been running and afraid, changing phone numbers and checking over her shoulder constantly. Now she was married to a man who loved her unconditionally, holding their newborn daughter, secure in a life they had built together. Connor was an incredible father from day one. He got up for the night feedings, changed diapers without complaint, and spent hours just staring at Grace in wonder. Watching him with their daughter, Olivia fell in love with him all over again. Grace grew quickly, hitting all her milestones early. She had Connor's dark hair and Olivia's green eyes, a perfect blend of both of them. They threw her first birthday party at their apartment, inviting all the friends and family who had supported them over the years. Mrs. Chen made dumplings again, claiming Grace needed the good luck even more than her parents had. When Grace was 18 months old, Olivia discovered she was pregnant again. They had planned to wait longer, but life had other ideas. Their son, James, arrived the following summer. The apartment that had felt spacious suddenly felt full of life, toys and laughter, and the beautiful chaos of 2 small children. Connor sold his company when James turned 2, having achieved everything he wanted to in the development world. The sale made him seriously wealthy, but he used most of the money to fund his affordable housing foundation, keeping just enough for their family to live comfortably. He took a position on several nonprofit boards, focusing his energy on causes that mattered to both of them. Olivia shifted to consulting work, allowing her more flexibility to be present for Grace and James. She picked her clients carefully, working only with companies and causes she believed in. The balance felt right, giving her both professional fulfillment and time with her family. 5 years after Grace was born, they bought a house in the suburbs with a big yard and good schools. It was bittersweet leaving the riverside apartment where they had built their life, but exciting to give their kids space to run and play. One evening, after the kids were in bed, Connor found Olivia on their back porch, looking at the stars. He wrapped his arms around her from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. "Everything. How different my life is now compared to where it was. How that scared woman changing her phone number for the 3rd time could never have imagined this." She turned in his arms to face him. "You changed everything, Connor. You saved me." "We saved each other," he corrected, as he always did. "I was going through the motions before you, building things but not really living. You gave me purpose beyond work. You gave me love and family and a reason to come home every night. I never thanked you properly for that first night, when you opened the package for me, and then refused to let me face everything alone. You have thanked me every day by choosing me, by building this life with me, by trusting me with your heart after someone broke it so badly." Connor kissed her softly. "Besides, I am a selfish man. I saw a beautiful woman who needed help and I took the opportunity to spend time with her. Best decision I ever made." Olivia laughed, the sound carrying across their quiet yard. "You are impossible. And yet you married me." "Best decision I ever made," she echoed, kissing him back. They stood there together, wrapped in each other's arms, listening to the sounds of the night. Inside their house, their children slept peacefully. Around them, the life they had built stretched out in every direction, solid and real and beautiful. The fear and trauma that had once defined Olivia's days had transformed into strength and wisdom, hard-won but valuable. And Connor, the neighbor who had asked if she needed help and then proven himself worthy of her trust every day since, held her like she was the most precious thing in his world, because she was. Just as he was hers. Marcus had tried to break her, to make her small and afraid and dependent. But she had broken free, changed her number for the 3rd time and found safety just next door. Found love where she least expected it. Found herself again, stronger and wiser and ready to build something beautiful. And she had. With Connor by her side, she had built a life that exceeded every dream she had dared to have. The scared woman checking over her shoulder was still part of her story, but she was not the whole story. The whole story included healing and growth and love and family and a future that stretched out bright and full of promise. Connor squeezed her tighter and Olivia smiled into the darkness. This was home. This was happiness. This was the life that came after surviving, the beautiful gift of thriving. And she would never take it for granted, would never stop being grateful for the millionaire neighbor who finally asked if she needed real help and then stuck around to make sure she knew she was never alone again.